I'm on a delay.
It's so hard, like, because we can't see each other, so there's no, like, visual cues when we're done talking. Hey everyone, welcome back to Navajo Tea Time. It is April 2021, and the topic for this month that we're talking about is communities.
Hey everyone, Adrienne here. I'm really excited about this month's topic because I think it's a more interesting way for others to kind of get to know us.
I kind of answered your question in a very sarcastic way. I didn't think you were gonna actually follow my lead in the way I talked about communities.
That's my role with Navajo Tea Time. I follow your lead.
I should probably stop being
But
so sarcastic in some of my
I think it's
answers.
great. I think okay, so well, that's kind of the disclaimer I think that we can put out there. So maybe you can go through your list of communities that you listed, and then I'll do the same. And this is actually really cool because it's not super serious, and it kind of gives people an idea of how we think about how we view ourselves and what we tie ourselves to. So,
One of the earliest communities I actually felt like a part of was being from the dormitories, like the Kintlena border town dormitories. Yeah, so it's just like, oh, where do you go to school? It's like, oh, I go to the dorms and the flag dorms. And that kind of like sets you apart, not just from other kids on the reservation, but from the kids at Flag High as well, because you were in a dorm while also going to high school. So it was a kind of nice community. But I'm not going to explain every single one, just that one. So, the filmmaker community, the photography community, parenthood, online gaming, specifically Diablo 3 and Sims 4, the alternative non sports community of my family, like where I don't play sports, small business owner community, the bullet journal / planner community, Native American artists, mixed blood community, native but not traditional, anime community, horror movie lovers community, the Cameron community, learning disability community, social anxiety community, the Capricorn community, glasses wearing community, girly girl stuck in a tomboy community, bad handwriting community, and YouTuber community. Oh my gosh, saying community over and over again, it gets really hard to say. But yeah.
I think this is really I think this is really fun though, because I think when we talk about community, sometimes we think about our neighborhood, sometimes we think about the town we're from. But, the way we're talking about it, these are sets of people that share certain interests, skills, and I guess life paths. So I think it's kind of cool. But I really liked like these things you listed. Like I was laughing when I read girly girl stuck in a tomboy community.
Yeah, because like my mom's, all she has was sisters, and so her dad really wanted boys, so he treated them like tomboys, and then so she only treated us girls as tomboys as well. But I was really girly, but I didn't have a way to express that because my mom wasn't a girly either. So like I wanted to do the tea
Mhm.
parties, I wanted to do all the makeup, but she didn't know how to interact with me in that way. She just wanted me to play softball and
Hmm.
volleyball. But I was like, no, I want a tea party.
Hence Navajo tea time.
Yeah.
I think it's funny too because I remember when Kelsey was pitching this idea to me, she was like, "This is just a really great excuse for us to have tea parties and snacks." And I was like, "I'm in."
Now we can't do that right now, but yes, eventually when we get a budget and can come back to meeting up.
Oh my goodness. I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to it because I miss our tea parties. I used to love like, prepping all the treats beforehand and getting our tea set up and sitting down, and I don't know, I miss that. I can't wait till we can do it again.
All right, what communities are you a part of, Adrian?
All right. So the communities that I listed are the Happy Wife, Happy Life community, La Leche League, Res Mom community, entering into the Glamour community, Native entrepreneur, female business owner, small business owner community, Better Business Bureau, Native Women Entrepreneurs of AZ, Empowered by GoDaddy Accelerator, Change Labs, Res Rising, Build Navajo, Navajo Women's Energy Project, Solar Tech Community, Team YKD Community, Goal Zero Community, Resilience Community, Smart Planner Community, Wannabe Hiker Backpacker Community, 4/4 on a CIB Community, Adopted Clans Community, Married to a Native Man Community, Modern Tradition Community, the Nehatafli Association, Born and Raised on the Res Community, Learning the Nefazad Community, Wannabe Trilingual Community, Virgo Community, YouTube Community, State School Education Community, Tribal College Community, Graduated from College Community, Undergrad Community, New to Grad School Community, and Apple User Community. So, do you have any questions about any of the things I listed?
What's
Or would you like
Glamma?
clarification?
Glamma. What's Glamma community?
So there's this community on YouTube, or I guess it's not just on YouTube. It's like kind of like grandmas, women who have grandchildren who are not your stereotypical, like wearing knit sweaters, or I guess it's like glamours or glamorous grandmas, basically. So it's like women that don't really fit the stereotype. They've got a youthful flair to them. They're super stylish, and yeah, I thought it was funny when I saw that term, but I think I fit into that set because I am still relatively young, and I do think I have style. Maybe not the best style, but I there are days when I do put a lot of effort into how I look. So I wouldn't consider myself like, I guess, a typical boring grandma that some might think when you say that word. I think it's kind of different in American society. People have the stereotype of a grandma having like short permed hair and like red lipstick and maybe like knitted sweaters, you know what I mean? And orthopedic shoes. And then on the res, our idea of grandmas, the stereotype of a grandma is wearing her long flared out skirt, her like sani scarf, her turquoise, her velvet shirt. I don't think I fit either of those. That's what that is.
Oh yeah, you're not like other grandmas.
I'm a cool grandma.
That reminds me of Mean Girls. Like, I'm not a regular mom. I'm a
Yeah,
cool mom. It's like, okay, lady.
those are the communities I consider myself to be a part of. So I think this talk about grandmas is also kind of a good segue. And question that was posed is, what is the significance of this day to you?
So, for me, Mother's Day is always a weekend thing. And here in Cameron, or like I guess the climate, is the time to start shearing the sheep.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone comes to my great grandma's sheep camp. We just spend the whole weekend shearing sheep. Because I know, like, the commercial, like when you watch commercials or see something about Mother's Day on TV or in media, it's like the mom gets to sleep in, you make her breakfast, she gets to be lazy, she has a spa day, she gets gifts or something. But for my family, on my mom's side, it's completely flipped. It's like you wake up super early, you put on your raggedy clothes, and you just sit in the sheep crap all day and you're just cutting their hair. I don't do that anymore though. My grandma promoted me to cook. So I'm in the kitchen all day cooking for everyone who's shearing, which is also a really long process and takes forever to make that much food
Mm-hmm.
for everybody. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's sort of like a dedication, work in tribute to our matriarch, which is our great grandma. So it's not the lazy day most mothers expect.
I love that. That is so cool. I have a friend too. She said that Mother's Day is the day that they all go out to the field and plant. And I was like thinking that's an awesome like tradition to have. I was actually thinking of doing something like that this year because I know we want to plant. We actually started our seeds, which is exciting. To me, it's exciting because this is the second year in a row that we're going to try to plant corn. Our first crop didn't do as well because we started late, and then we had, the where I live, we have short summers and early winters. So this cold front came and kind of wiped them out early in the fall. So this year we started early, and I'm trying a new technique where I used Miracle Grow, and I put them inside those biodegradable pots. I put some Miracle Grow into like each of them, and then we had the kids plant the seeds, and then we put them in this big pot, two big pots, and watered them. And I'm having the kids put them out during the day and then bring them back in at night because it's still cold here. But I'm hoping that it'll give the seeds time to sprout. And then when they're a little stronger and it's warmer, we can take them out and put them in the ground. I'm pretty thrilled about that.
So what are you doing for Mother's Day?
Planting.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you answered
Yeah.
that question. No, we started our seeds too. Our problem is like in Cameron, there's always that one random like cold front that comes in at like the end of May, kind of difficult when to plant, and then like the summers just shoot up and it's too hot to do anything.
I know. I think for Mother's Day, when I think about the significance of Mother's Day, I always think of like, giving gratitude to your mom. So for me, I used to send my mom flowers and I would have them be delivered to her office. Or we would, cook for her, things like that. And I think she always appreciated that. My brother and my sisters and I, we used to love doing breakfast in bed for our mom. And my dad would always tell us not to complain, especially on that day, and he would get her flowers and stuff too. So we would always try to do something nice for my mom. And then like I felt like I kind of fell into the stereotypical Mother's Day tradition of taking the day off and going to a spa. Like that used to be my thing when I was living in Flag. I'd be like, all right, I'm taking off. I'm going to go to the spa. I'm going to get lunch with my friends. And it was like a day all about me. And I love that. But now things are different. And my husband always tries to do something nice for me on Mother's Day, and he'll work with the kids to make it happen. And I think one thing that we did that was actually different, and I think it was cool too, is, we have a blended family. So I remember one year we went out and the kids got gifts for me and their mom. So it was actually really nice, to be able to do that because showing respect for your mom and showing gratitude for your mom is so important. So I think like maintaining that tradition will be good because I always want to put it out there for the kids that we're a blended family, but we're still all family. You know what I mean? No person is more important than the other. So yeah, that's something we do, and I think it's cool.
That's cool. My dad never really had another woman in his life, or he did. If he did, he never told us.
Mhm.
So I've never had
Mhm.
to share Mother's Day with anyone else but my
Mhm.
mom. It's
Yeah, it's
cool.
it's interesting. Yeah, like you really have to be mature to do these things. Like that's what you have to be mature and you always have to think about the kids' happiness and wellness first. And I think for a long time, our kids, four of the kids have so I gave birth to three moms, and four of the kids have a different mom. And I think for a while there, they were having this like internal dilemma of having to choose. And I always told them, like, you don't need to choose between either of us. You show respect and love for your mom, and you show love and respect for me. You know what I mean? And I will take care of you, and she will take care of you, and I will love you, and she will love you. And you guys are lucky. You guys have more than one mom who cares about you and is there to support you. I think that's really what helped that transition because now we're at this really beautiful place where we can talk, like we can have conversations about the family together. We can make decisions together. We can, plan for the grandbaby together. And I just think it's such a beautiful place to be in. I never imagined that possible because I've only seen other families where there was a lot of fighting, a lot of jealousy, and I just never wanted that. So it's kind of cool to pave a new path and show a way through this.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, you have to be like super mature to be able to talk with exes and your ex's significant other and be like amicable with them.
Yeah, yeah, it really is important, and you have to be super mature. You have to think about how how, because the kids are always watching you. That's the thing, is they're always watching you, and they're wanting to know how you're gonna navigate things. And I thought it was interesting when my kid's dad, he had a girlfriend, or I think he has a girlfriend still, the same person. And we were meeting up in Flagstaff, and we were all at the mall because we were buying clothes for the kids. And then I had just had a baby with my husband Michael, and we just had a newborn, and we're pushing him around in a stroller. And she came up to me. You could tell she was kind of scared, and she came up to me and she was like, "Your baby's really cute." And I was like, "Oh, thanks." And that was the first time she talked to me. And she did it the right way by complimenting my baby, you know? And 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 we were able to, and I was like, "Thank you," you know? And it's nice when you get to like start talking and communicating with one another, because then I was able to, I always want my kids to be in the best situation. I always want them to be safe and happy. And after getting to know her over the years, and seeing that she treats my kids well, and she's kind, and she opens her home up to them, that really meant a lot to me. It still means a lot to me. And so I never I think I got fortunate in that way, because I never had to, like, call her out or, like, try to brawl her or something.
No baby
Because
mama drama.
no, I know baby mama drama just looks awful. I'm just like, "Oh, I don't want that." It's not easy. It's a challenge, but it's really cool when you get to that point when you can all sit around the table and have a meal together, and plan for the future, and plan for your kids. It's awesome.
So, with talking about spring and everything, the whole spring fever, what do you have on your end, I guess?
Okay, so when we were talking about spring fever topics, the first thing that came to my mind was the Stateline drama that's been all over Facebook and social media. I was thinking about it because you know how people talk about spring fever, and I was like, dang, it hit them hard this year. But yeah, I was thinking that was the first thing that came to mind. But then a few other things that I listed that came to mind when I was thinking about springtime was like the feeling of the season shifting and wanting to spend more time outside. I'm like a wannabe hiker backpacker, I would love to like get all the equipment and get outside and be one of those people that takes cool pictures and in Sedona, or at Arches, or on some mountain. Geez, I'm so tired all the time. I'm like run down by my life. I think during springtime, I really feel it. I feel the season shifting, and I get really excited and energetic. But then it depletes fast when I'm stuck inside an office, in front of a desk and a computer. I did sign up for a 100-mile challenge this month, with Dina College. The athletics director, Sean Frank, he had this idea for students, staff, and faculty to do a 100-mile challenge, and it's a preliminary thing for events that are to come over the summer. So it's been really fun, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get out there. I'm gonna be out doing like 4 to 5 miles a day. I've been tracking my steps, and we had a meeting yesterday, and I asked him about, how things were coming along with that. And he was telling me that there are like a handful of students that already completed it. And I was like,
What?
"What?" And he's like, "I know." I was like, "Excuse me?" And he's like, "Yeah, they're doing like 10 and 20-mile hikes." And I was like, "What the heck?"
They need
And
more
I just felt
homework.
discouraged. I know. And I felt like really old, because I'm like, dude, I could not do a 20-mile hike right now. I was like, those darn kids. Just kidding.
Okay, wait, let's put a pin in it. What's
But
the
that was
state
funny.
line drama?
Oh shoot. You didn't see it?
No, I'm like, I don't know. I didn't see anything about it.
Okay, well, so one of the, like, I guess the guy in the group, he got caught stepping out on his wife, and she put it on Facebook, and she put it out there for everyone to see. And Stateline is a huge band on the res, and so everybody knows about them, everyone adores them, and when she put that out there it just like spread like wildfire. And so like her family got involved, all the relatives were in on it, and then people started making memes like they do and making jokes about it, and I was like, oh shoot. So it was crazy. And then stupid me, I get involved. I didn't say anything, but I was just like, oh my God. And I was all tracking it, like looking for updates and stuff, like what's going on? And then my husband's over here like rolling his eyes, like, what are you doing? And I'm all like curious. It was so dumb.
Being nosy, leave me alone.
I know. I was all being nosy in other people's business. But the memes are really funny. So
Maybe.
that's the Stateline drama.
Oh, okay. I think maybe I saw a meme or two, but I don't listen to Stateline. I don't country western dance. I don't like going to
Hmm.
gatherings of people, so probably just
Mm.
went over my
Well,
head. Like I know who Stateline is. I know they're a
yeah. I mean,
band. I think I'm more familiar with Aces Wild than
yeah.
Stateline.
I know. I think if I was supposed to, if I was to choose between Stateline and Aces Wild, I probably would choose Stateline just because I love that song, Reservation Road. I'm just kidding.
I couldn't
No,
tell
but
you who made
I
what.
I know I wasn't really a fan at all. And then when I was going to school at NAU back in the day, I met some friends. We were taking the same classes, and they had gone to Navajo Prep. All of them, like the whole crew, they all graduated from Navajo Prep, and they were all at NAU. And we used to hang out together and study. And they used to always talk about these bands. And we went to, they were like, hey, we should go to the fair because they've never been to Western Navajo Fair. And I
Mhm.
had a truck. So I was like, you can come with me, but you got to sit in the back. They were like, okay. So we straight up like rolled into Tuba City like that. It was funny. There's like four girls in the back with their bags and their blankets, and it was really funny. And we all stayed at my mom's house, and they got to see like how Tuba City transforms pretty much overnight.
Mhm.
And they were like, oh, this is fun. And they took me to my first country dance, and they all knew how to dance. And I was like, dang, I don't even know how to dance. And they were like, it's easy. So we were like, they were like, you should learn how to dance. And that way, when we go out, you can like get swung around the dance floor. That's when I got introduced to their music. That's the first time I saw them perform. And then we just started joking about it all the time and like sharing music videos with one another just to kind of like, just to be nostalgic about that whole weekend. It was really fun. And then now, like, I moved back to the res. You hear it on the radio, and you're driving along these res roads and you hear it playing, and it just feels like home. So I don't know. That's kind of how I got initiated into all that. So I know who they are. I know their songs. When this drama happened, I'm just like, oh my God, what's going on? Is the band gonna break up?
They gonna kick the lead singer out? That's the one who stepped out, right? The lead.
I know. I think so, yeah. I was like, Yada, come on, guy. Just ruins it for everyone. But I don't know what's going on. I stopped following because I don't know, I just started to feel like too nosy, and I'm like, okay, no more. I'm not gonna keep looking into this. So it came and went.
Yeah, well, the wife put it out there, so if everyone's listening and paying attention, it's
Yeah.
her fault. It's not like they were trying to keep it hush hush. She just blasted him, so it's her fault that everyone sees it.
Seriously, she did. Like she really gave all the details too. I was like, oh my God. Let's move on from that. So what did you list? Things related to spring fever.
Of spring fever, my whole family, well, not my whole family, my husband, me, and my little one, we suffer from seasonal allergies. So now that it's spring and pollen's back in the air again, it's like, oh no, it's not COVID, it's allergies, I swear. Like when you sneeze or have to like cough something up when you're out and about again. So it's for us, it's that time. It's like, is it COVID or is it allergies? And then
That's funny.
we've just been eating outside because when we cook inside the house, it makes it too hot, but then the evening's nice and cool and not all the mosquitoes are out yet.
Ooh, you have that nice outdoor setup too.
Yeah, it's getting
Lucky.
nicer. We put our little garden around that. So we have like the gardening stuff right there. We're gonna plant some sunflowers. We did little seedlings, starters, seed
Oh,
starters. So we're gonna put sunflowers out and some different types of like pollinators. I like
Mhm.
planting flowers. I'm not too good at keeping vegetables producing. I'm good at having the
Mhm.
plant start, but then I'm not good
Mhm.
at keeping it to where it makes an actual product. So I'm like, flowers are easy.
I should try that. I want to do flowers. I want to get like big potters and put them outside because our yard just looks so boring, and I really want a nice outdoor setup.
Oh, you had one more thing on your spring fever list.
Oh yeah, so this is really exciting. Okay, so my son, he turned 13 this year and his voice started changing like at the beginning of the month, and we're so excited about it because it was just so abrupt, and then he like shot up. He shot up in height in just a few weeks. He grew and now he's taller than me, and I was like, "Oh my God." And so we're planning his puberty and manhood ceremony, and it is so exciting because in conversations with people, a lot of people are saying, oh, they don't really do that anymore. And there's a lot of people, like surprisingly, a lot of people who've never actually seen one or participated in one. I don't even know how long it's been since someone in my family, in my bloodline, who's actually had one. It's always the girls that have it and not the
Mm-hmm.
boys. And so when he was born, that was something I wanted, and I wanted to prepare for it. And my husband and we've been planning this for like over 2 years now, because we decided, you know what, this is something we're going to do. How do we make it happen? So we started like asking around and, asking questions of people. What do they know about it? How do we do it? And we got a lot of feedback from all these different families saying, well, this is how I've heard it done. Or some people they've done like a sweat with their son. Like, yeah, we do the sweat, but not the whole ceremony. And I was like, and so we talked to a couple of medicine people and we asked them, what's the story behind this and what all goes into it. And so they started to teach us about this transition from childhood to manhood. And I don't know, I just got really like, as my son started to get older, I was getting like more excited about it. And we started like collecting materials and things like that for the ceremony. And then when it happened, I was like, oh my God, it's here, like so excited. And it's so cute. And then so we found someone who's gonna do it, and that's what we've been planning. So this spring is a really big deal for our family because our son is becoming he's becoming a man. He's stepping out of childhood, and we're going to do this ceremony for him. And it's really exciting to me because I really, I want him to have that strong foundation in his life, and anything I can do to make that happen, like I'm there for it. So that's really exciting, and I'm super thrilled about it. And there's people who are like, hey, can we come? Like we want to see this. Like we've never seen this before. We asked about, what is that going to look like, and the medicine person said that everyone who attends, they all have to be vaccinated, and it has to be really small.
Mm-hmm.
So there's only like a handful of people that are coming, but I'm excited because my mom is coming, and that's a big deal for me. And
Mm-hmm.
she's going to help with all the cooking. And then we have two other people that are contributing, and they're donating like firewood for the sweat. They're going to help conduct all of that. And then it's just nice, to have people show up and be like, yeah, we want to be here for your son in this transition and this important time in his life. And I think it's cool too that they're showing up for him, to give him guidance about what it means to be a man, and what it means to be a family member, what it means to be not just a son or a child anymore, but he's gonna step into these leadership roles as he gets older. And it's really cool to have these men show up to be there to really guide him in that way. So I'm really excited about it.
That's really cool. Like, yeah, I've never really heard of like a puberty ceremony being done for a boy or a man. It's always like the girl and her kinilda.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool. I remember like my dad kind of joking about doing one for Charles or the boys. Like, what do we do? Just give him a knife and send him up on top of the mountain and just wait and see if he comes back in 4 days? Because like my family wasn't traditional, but when it was my turn to have my kinilda, I was complaining. I'm like, well, how come Charles never had to do anything? How come the boys don't have to go through all of this? And
Mm-hmm.
so they're like, well, I guess we could just send him up the mountain with a knife. I was like, do it.
I know. I think I think, back in the day, we had these coming of age ceremonies and these like rites of passage, and I really do believe that us not enforcing them or practicing them, it really is starting to show socially, you know what I mean? It's starting to show in our men today and how they conduct themselves and how they treat women and how they show up for their families. I just think if there's anything we can do to kind of bring it back to life or to try to learn, to try to pick it back up, I think it's important. So I can't tell other people what to do, but I can choose to do
Mm-hmm.
something. And so that's what I decided to do. And it's actually really cool because it includes the tache. It includes, and that's like an endurance thing, it's a purity thing. It's like, it involves purity. It involves endurance. It involves strength. It involves like the connection to the earth, all these different things. And then it's accompanied by songs and prayers and knowledge that's passed down, and it provides this space where he can ask any question about his life or this transition, and there's other men there to give him answers. And I just think that's super cool because so many guys, I don't know how many guys today have those figures in their life that tell them, that really guide them through this. And
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people find their way through media, they find their way through pornography, they fall into all these different traps. And sometimes they can be really bad, sometimes they can have really negative side effects. And so I think having a space there where it's honorable, to be a man, it's honorable to really like utilize the sacred time in a good way and teach about endurance. And so there's other aspects of it that are similar to the Kinal Dao, like running is a part of it. And then there's Sodazen, it's like a protection prayer. And then a Bijeh, which is a blessing ceremony. And these are really important for any person, but for my son, I'm excited about it because he's gonna have that armor on him as he transitions. And then he's gonna have this blessing way that's gonna really put him in this state of Hajan and balance, physically, mentally, spiritually. And so I think that's a really great way for him to start taking those first steps toward manhood. And also just being in this position of not being lazy and having him be uncomfortable for a cause. you know there's a little bit of sacrifice that goes into these things, but I keep telling him, we're all here for you and we're doing this for you because we're all showing up for you because your life has purpose and meaning, and we want to help you discover that, and we want to be here for you as your allies in this life. And he was just like, he was really moved by it, and he was just like, thank you, I appreciate it. And it's really cool. It's cool to see him mature. It's different, and I love it though. I'm really proud of him.
That's cool. Now that's like a really positive thing for you just to do with your kids, to like show them that you support them and you are with how you believe in your ways are giving him the best possible path to follow. I guess
Mm-hmm.
like I don't want to assume anyone's like religion or beliefs, but like with you and your belief, you are providing the best way for him and he can see that. And that's pretty amazing because a lot of parents, I think sometimes they like do the bare minimum, or they like
I
have
think
like a
so.
way of like, oh, you pick your own path, you do whatever you want, I'm not going to get in your way. But then like sometimes you get left with the feeling of they don't care what I do.
Yeah, and that's how I felt. Like I didn't have a kinalta, and my parents were Christian and or are Christian, and so they're not. They never took us to ceremony ever in my whole life. And I think when I was getting older and I was becoming a teenager, and they were very hands off. You know, they were pretty hands off during that time. And I think there was also a lot of shame involved as far as like having your body change, and you're going through puberty, and it wasn't this celebrated thing. It wasn't this honorable thing. It was more of a shameful thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then you go to health class and they talk about it and it's just embarrassing and gross. And I'm like, like the way we talk about puberty in the American society, and the way we talk about these life changes, it's almost done in an awkward way. And I don't want my son to feel that, and I don't want my daughter to feel that, because that I think if you are too hands off, sometimes your kids do start to think like that, like, oh, they don't care about what I do. Because I remember feeling like that. I remember feeling like, why don't they care? Why are they not stepping in? And then, like, as I got older, I'm just like, what the heck? Why didn't you do this? Or why didn't you do that? And so when I became a parent, I was like, okay, I'm going to do things differently. And I'm going to be there every step of the way. And I'm going to do my best to equip my kids the tools they need so they can eventually stand on their own 2 feet. So that's why I'm really adamant about, like, cleaning and cooking for themselves and having chores, and just, I'm kind of strict with them, but I keep telling them, it's not always going to be like this. When you leave this house, because I told them, like, you're not going to live with me forever either. You know what I mean? Like, you need to go off and do your own thing. You're not going to be like a grown man and woman living in my house. Like, forget that. But I'm like, you're going to go off on your own, and you're going to live your own life. And you need to know how to do this for yourself. And you need to know how to take care of other people too. Because one day you might have a family, but you're always going to have people there who are going to need you, whether they're your parents, your grandparents, your cousins, your sisters, your brothers, your nieces, nephews, children. It's like a big community thing. So I keep telling them that, like, you have the responsibility to contribute and carry teachings, songs, prayers, and skills. If I can give you that, then I've done my job as a mother, as a parent. What I've learned is that there is a lot of privilege in it, because it is expensive sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And like this week, just gathering materials for the ceremony, it was expensive. I want my son to have the best too. So I'm kind of like going in there. I'm not cutting any corners. And I'm just like, dang, how many people can't afford to do this, if you're not all contributing? And luckily, people have been showing up saying, I'm going to donate this. I'm going to donate that. I'm going to be here for you. And I'm just like, dang, thank you, because it's really helpful. And it also shows me where people are, where they stand with me and my family, who is showing up for us. So that's really nice. It's good to know who your allies are.
What updates do you have for your business?
Oh,
Anything
yeah. Okay,
exciting?
cool. Yes. So this is exciting for me because I love talking about the business. All right. So Yewaka Knowledge Distribution was accepted into the Better Business Bureau this month, and we'll be graduating from the Empowered by GoDaddy Business Accelerator next month. That is super exciting. I'm really thrilled about it. And right now I just gotta like update our website and let people know. But being a part of the Better Business Bureau is kind of a big deal. When you're accredited, it shows others that, your business has been vetted. You have a history of providing quality service to your customers, and, no reports of anything negative like fraud or theft. I'm really proud of it. We work really hard to provide great customer service. We really do go above and beyond for people, especially people who we're providing solar tech to, people who live off grid. I'm really happy about that. That's what I have
super
as an update.
cool. I'm so happy for you guys.
Thank you.
It's a really big thing, like, a native business, a native small business being in the Better Business Bureau. It's like, oh my goodness, you made it.
I know.
You
Thank
compete
you.
with the big boys.
I know. It does. It feels good. Like, we work really hard. I was really excited when I got the email. I was like, yes, we did it. What about you?
Oh, for happy accidents. I know for like the better part of a year, we keep mentioning like, oh, we're going to set up our Patreon. We're going to do a Patreon account and whatnot. It's never felt right for us creating a Patreon account. There's like always something that's just kind of stopped me from actually getting on there and creating an account. And then, the Facebook algorithm sent me this ad for Buy Me a Coffee, and it's a platform that's kind of like Patreon, but it's less demanding on a creator and a subscriber. You don't have to make another account, because I hate making so many accounts for so many things. You have like 20 million passwords and a bazillion usernames and what email is attached to what account. So this one, it's super easy. Like, you could just pay a simple fee for a month. Our account's already live, but we're trying to perfect all the wording and all the stuff for it and have our big launch go out in May. So you'll probably see a spam of, subscribe to the Buy Me a Coffee account in May. So that's one thing we've been working on. I got some new filming equipment. I got my webcam, my microphone, and my studio lights came in last week. So that's super exciting for me. I'm just really excited about that. Our
That's
YouTube
awesome.
videos on our Ha channel will be better lit. Yeah, and then we're just
Awesome.
chugging along with the change labs. We're supposed to be like doing our market analysis, and I just keep hitting this wall of like, what do I need to put down for information? It's just not connecting into my brain. So just gonna try and make a meeting with a coach to figure out exactly what they're asking for. I'm just
That's
not a
exciting.
I'm not a good person with statistics and numbers and graphs.
Hmm.
So like reading all that stuff,
Well,
it gets really boring for me, and then like the eyes roll to the back of my head and I'm like, I don't know what this means.
I know that's the cool thing about being a part of the incubator though, is you have those resources. You can reach out to them and they're there to help you, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about the accelerator too. We have a meeting with GoDaddy reps next week to kind of address our website issues. And we have one meeting about SEOs, so search engine optimization, and another one regarding e-commerce, because I keep running into this barrier with our e-commerce site, and it's like doing things that I don't understand. I'm like, there's some things that I can do well and there's other things that I'm not very good at. And when I run into something I'm not good at, I ask for help. And so that's what I did with the GoDaddy team. So we have a meeting this week. I'm like, all the help we can get. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited about that.
Yeah, this is kind of a new issue for me because like I set up the whole thing for the business. I did all the paperwork. So I'm not used to not understanding something
Mm-hmm.
business-wise. Like I could read a couple of articles and papers. I'm like, "Okay, that's what we're supposed to do. This is how it's supposed to be." But like with this whole market analysis, statistics stuff, I'm just like I can't wrap my head around it. So I just had to message
Mm-hmm.
our coach. I'm like, "Hey, you have to hold my hand and walk me through this because I'm not getting it. It's not sinking in no matter what I try to do."
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that's a big step, asking for help from my coach, because usually I just like deep dive into articles and snippets from textbooks and trying to research everything, but my mind's just not accepting statistics.
Statistics is hard. Yeah, it's like mind numbing, but put them to work. That's what they're there to do. So
Yeah.
cool. Well, those are fun updates. Are there any big projects you guys are working on this summer?
I'm trying to see if I want to apply for the Sony Alpha Female grant again.
Oh, wow.
During my morning walk, I had this amazing idea of what I could do if I applied for like the grant, because I was just
Mm-hmm.
listening to their podcast of like some of the photographers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to force myself to walk every morning for at least 30 minutes. So I'm like, I gotta listen to something. So I was just listening to that podcast this morning, and then the idea popped in my head. So I typed it all out this morning. I'm like, this is almost a fully realized idea. I probably could submit it to that grant since the application process is open now. So I might do it, I might not. You'll probably know if I do submit to it. There's just a lot of factors because like these are like, it's a smaller grant than what it used to be. Before it was like $30,000 or $50,000, and this one it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you have $5,000 to complete a project within a month.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm like, okay, that's kind of enough time for me to do what I wanted. Not exactly what I wanted to do. Like I could scale it down or I could scale
Mm-hmm.
it up depending on how much time and money I have. I also have a committed monthly contract that I would have to work around.
Mm-hmm.
And then all this other stuff with the business and the change labs classes are coming to an end, so we have to put a big
Mm-hmm.
presentation together in the next couple of months too. So it'd be exciting to win it and actually start on the project I was thinking about, but
Mm-hmm.
also I have to think about all the other commitments I made.
Yeah, well, keep us updated because that's exciting, and it's awesome when we can cheer you on for these endeavors that you're taking on. And I think a lot of people don't understand how hard it is to be a business owner sometimes. I think some people like the bragging rights of like, I'm a business owner, I'm going to start my own business, I'm going to run things. not knowing that it's so much more than just bragging rights. You know, there's all the nitty-gritty details that they're difficult, they're hard, they're painful. There's a lot of research that's necessary, and taxes, you
Oh
know,
my
around
goodness.
tax time. Oh my gosh, we just did our taxes and I'm just like, oh, I'm so glad we got it done. But I was just like, dang, it's, you know, it's just more stuff to do. It's hard. You got to track so much throughout the year, and so it is hard, but it's fulfilling also. Shout out to all the business owners. So this kind of merges business updates with community, I think. All right, we have really exciting news, everybody. Navajo Tea Time has a new logo, and we're super
Woo.
excited to announce this because we partnered with a tattoo artist. Her name is Jara Nez. She's from Cameron, right?
Yeah, Geraldine. She's from Cameron. She's been tattooing professionally for about a year now.
Mm-hmm.
And she graduated from NAU with a, I think, graphics design degree.
Uh-huh.
And she's worked with some other local artists in Flagstaff. Cecil Patrick from An Illustrated Mess. She did one of their album designs. I'm gonna get a tattoo design from her. We kind of featured her in our February this month from Happy Accidents. She's
Mm-hmm.
also my cousin.
Yay! And she's super talented, and
Mm-hmm.
she designed this dope design for us, and we love it so much. So we're gonna be rolling that out. We're gonna roll it out soon. So we'll have a brand new logo, and we're excited to use it. This also means brand new merch.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited about that. So it's kind of, I think the reason why this kind of ties to community and business is, you know, we have this Navajo Tea Time community. And I know we have some amazing supporters who have supported us since we first started. And we're hoping you guys will be excited. We do have a ton of campfire mugs with the old design by Crystal Dugai. And so if anyone wants to support us in our endeavor and in filming and in doing that, I think some of the costs that you guys can help with is, you know, one campfire mug can cover the cost for snacks, which is so important. $20 each, and you can get them on the online store, the teamykd.com online store. You can purchase them there. You can pay with PayPal, with a card or a credit card or a debit card, and all the proceeds go to Navajo Tea Time Endeavor. And with that, you know, with those funds too, we'd like to actually roll out some new merch just for fun with this new cool design. So that's what I wanted to share. Support Navajo Tea Time.
The last topic, thoughts about the new COVID-19 variants. And for me,
Yee.
for me, I was like, if you kind of listened to what the doctors were saying and listening to the facts and not all the hype and all the drama and politics of it all, variants were bound to happen because that's just what happens with viruses and living organisms. They evolve, they adapt, they overcome. You know, we get stronger immunities, they get stronger to defeat our immunities. It's kind of just like a back and forth in our bodies with the viruses and us. I kind of want to avoid saying it's like a flu, you know, like where there's a different flu strain every year, there's probably going to be a different variant of COVID every year because genetically they're similar, even though our body's reactions to them are vastly different, even between people to people.
I was just gonna say that I think a lot of us were hoping it was going to be like a cold where you get a vaccine. Maybe not, maybe a cold is a bad example, but you know, colds used to be deadly, right? Flu is also deadly, but there's other sicknesses out there that when they find a vaccine for it, oftentimes you'll never get that again, right? It kind of stops it. Your body's prepared for it. It can fight it. It has immunity. And I
Mm-hmm.
think we were all hoping for that with COVID-19, but we're learning now that that's not the case, and that yeah, you're absolutely right. This virus is going to continue to evolve and mutate, and our immune systems are going to have to continuously be, I guess, exposed to it through vaccines so that our bodies can fight it off, which is
Mm-hmm.
so scary. But yeah.
At first, I didn't want to compare it to the flu because then there's people like, oh, it's just like the flu. No, it's not like the flu. Genetically, they're similar, so it's gonna mutate and get stronger, and then we have to get stronger. And I've heard some doctors say, like, it's not going anywhere, we just have to get to a point where our bodies are used to it, and that's going to take time, and some people are impatient.
We are not experts, we are not epidemiologists, we are not virologists either. I think what we are, though, is we are community members. You know what I mean? We're mothers, and we are a part of an indigenous community where we value life, right? And we respect life also. And I think like that kind of contributes to at least how I choose to approach COVID-19, which is like, it's like any dangerous thing, you know, you be cautious around it, but you also respect it. It's almost like a snake. A snake is poisonous, dangerous, it can kill you. So you're not just going to go up to it unprepared or unprotected and mess with it, right? You're gonna either avoid it the best way you can, like social distancing, or you're gonna have protection, like with COVID, like a mask, you know, and or a vaccine, you know, anything to protect yourself and keep yourself healthy. And it's a really scary time though. I'm like, when I heard of the variants, I was terrified. I was like, oh man, you know, and I knew it was bound to happen, but when I read about how those variants are functioning, that's what scared me. I think the biggest topic of discussion that is occurring right now in my house, options for our children, because right now, you know, they're talking about rolling out an option for children 12 to 16 years old to have that conversation with the kids. Like, I want to give them the option to choose. I don't want to force it on them. You know, I was given the option to choose. We had to have that conversation. And the thing that I'm really stressed out about though is like how things are going to go with kids that are younger than 12 years old. You know what I mean? I know they have to kind of dial it in just right. You can't give a kid too much of something, otherwise bad things could happen, you know? So I think that's really what is on the top of my mind, is just how we are planning to protect ourselves from this point on. And my hope is that it turns into this thing where the vaccines are safe for people, and that it'll just be like us getting a booster shot, you know, just like we do with other deadly viruses. I know one parent that is actually going to sign their kid up for the testing. And I was like, oh, I'm not going that far.
Kind of hard to decide with that. And then, like, you know, we both have toddlers, and it's like they're always full of germs. Toddlers are full of germs all the time. They go to school, they come back with germs. They go to the playground, they come back with more germs. So it's kind of scary thinking about sending toddlers back to school, because, you know, they'd probably switch masks and they'd probably lick each other's faces, because that's what toddlers do. And it's kind of hard to teach toddlers to social distance. But it's just cute with Frankie. A lot of her YouTube videos, they've been showing her like her kid YouTube's Kids, I think it's called. They've been showing videos about like washing your hands and getting rid of bad germs. So every once in a while, she'll just run into the bathroom like, I gotta wash my hands, I have to get rid of bad germs, bye bye bad germs. And she like yelling down this drain, bye bad germs. So
Cute.
So, you know, it's definitely a different way to try and teach your toddler how not to like always hug people when they're like, when at first you're like, oh no, go hug that person, go hug them, you know them, and blah blah blah. But now it's like, nope, don't hug anyone.
I know, it's so sad. Like when we do go out with the kids, they all wear their masks, even the baby, and it's just so sad to see like these little kids wearing masks. For some reason, it just like, it makes me sad, you know, like this is the world they're growing up in. But I was listening to the All My Relations podcast this past week on one of my walks, and one of the hosts said this beautiful thing. She was commenting on how brave these souls are to come to the earth at this time of COVID, all those new babies that are being born, you know. And the way she framed it was, you know, them making a choice to come here to this earth now, you know, the bravery and the strength they're gonna have. And I was just like, dang, that was like, the way she said it was profound. And I was just like, that's dope, because like my sister, she just had a baby, and our daughter, she's gonna have a baby next month, and I'm just like, wow, you know, like what an honor to welcome these children to this world. And it's crazy that they're showing up while we're going through this pandemic, but at the same time, you know, it is true, you know, they're gonna be some tough children. You know what I mean? They're gonna be on another level. Yeah, I was like, wow.
But like it's also that thing, they're not gonna miss what they didn't know.
Yeah,
Because, like,
definitely.
Frankie right now, she doesn't know what it's like to be in Head Start. I can feel sad for her because I know she's missing out on all these cute little activities she could do with other kids.
Hmm.
But she has no idea she's missing out. She's only going to know she's
Yeah,
missing out if we tell her. She
yeah.
doesn't know, oh, I'm not, she doesn't know a world where she didn't wear a mask, like walking
Hmm.
around. It's just, it's the normal for her. But for us looking back, it's a little sad because, like, oh, we used to run around so carefree and everything. I think it's harder for us to try not to instill anxiety. That's one thing I'm really working on, is to make sure Frankie keeps her mask on, she puts on hand sanitizer and does everything to protect herself but not feel scared about it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
not push my anxiety of this new change onto her, because to her it's not new. To her, she's learning about this new world. And for
Hmm.
us adults, it's a drastic change in what we're used to in society. And just from my mom being a kindergarten teacher and, my younger siblings and everything, younger kids are so adaptable. They change, they can adapt to changes in like school systems and other teachers and things really well. It's the parents and the adults that don't like the change. They don't like their schedule being messed with. They don't like having to learn a new routine to do with their kids. So that's just kind
Hmm.
of how I feel sometimes, where like people are like, well, I have to train my kid to wear a mask. It's like, yes, you do, but the kid doesn't know what they're missing out on. And it's more
Hmm.
of like trying not to put anxiety into my daughter while also trying to train her for this new world.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a super great point. Really good point of view. And I think it also kind of segues into that last question
Oh
that you
yeah,
listed,
the hot topic
the hot
question.
topic. Yeah.
It's like, what good has come from the pandemic slash COVID-19? For me, I have a very specific example. I don't know if the people experiencing this would feel like it's a good thing, but before COVID-19, people who suffer from anxiety and panic attacks, and now, like what you were saying at the beginning of everything, of how you were having panic attacks and anxiety, and then a couple weeks ago, my mom was saying she had a panic attack and she didn't know how to stop it. I'm like,
Hmm.
see, this is how it feels. So it's
Yeah.
it's a good thing, as it expands people's minds to like, this is anxiety. This is a panic attack. People felt this before the pandemic, but now new people are feeling it and have a new understanding of what other people were feeling. So I feel like people who are experiencing panic attacks and anxiety for the first time due to COVID have a better understanding of people who've been experiencing and living with it before COVID. And just that connectivity helps, bridge understanding and empathy to people who just normally live with anxiety.
I agree with you. Empathy really is one of the things that we're acquiring, because now we're not thinking just about ourselves all the time. We're forced to think about everybody in society, everybody around us, because this is a shared collective experience. It's a worldwide thing, and we're all suffering from it. You know what I mean? And I think it's also kind of a great leveler, because no one is safe from it. Usually, when there's some sort of crisis, it seems like there'll be specific groups that are singled out and they're suffering from it, and everyone else is like, "Oh, that's too bad for them, but I'm okay,"
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, it's not like that. We're all susceptible and we're all in danger, and we all have to work together to stop it. It's a lesson that the human race needs to learn. We've been needing we've been needing that understanding for a long time. We've been needing that empathy for a long time, and I think now we're being forced to we're being forced through it. You know what I mean? And I know some people are like kicking and screaming, like, no, not I. I think there's more people that are kind of like, come on, get on board. You know what I mean? Like we all want to survive this. And I think one thing that, for me, the thing that the good thing that's come from this is, I feel like I have a sense of my mortality in a way that I didn't have before. I I now do not fear taking risks that, before I did. I would have this fear, this apprehension of taking risks to things like I sometimes compare myself to like Wendy not wanting to grow up. You know what I mean? She
Yeah.
wanted to go to Never Land. And that's kind of like me. I never wanted to grow up and be an adult, be a boring adult with, you know, with I used to think of adulthood as like what happens to people when their soul dies. Like you're selling out, you're obeying the man, you've lost your sense of wonder. That's how I used to think of it as a kid. And I was just like, I don't want to grow up, I don't want to be an adult. I'm seeing now that I'm so fortunate to be alive. I'm so thankful for my life. I'm so thankful for every breath that I have, knowing that it could so quickly end because of all the people that are passing on around me. It's given me this sense of bravery and urgency to do things and to take risks and to try. I'm actually going to be stepping into something big soon, something that I've been afraid to do for a long time. And I've decided I'm just going to go for it. And that's all I'll say about it. I don't want to give any details because no one really needs to know what it is. They'll see in time. It'll be revealed in time. Had this not happened, I don't think I ever would have had the courage to do it. You know what I mean? But because of the pandemic, I'm kind of in a state of mind now, like every day matters, every day counts. I need to use it in the best way that I possibly can. I need to have impact because I'm seeing, people who get COVID, some of them are gone in a matter of days.
Mm-hmm.
And that's scary. I really do feel the sense of urgency to move fast, do everything that I feel like I need to do, which is why I don't have a lot of fear or regrets about like decisions that I'm making right now. I'm kind of like, you know what, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna make my life count. And so I think that's a good thing because it really did erase a lot of that fear and doubt that was once there before, where I'm kind of like, oh, I don't have what it takes, or oh, I'm not ready, or oh, I have time. I
Mm-hmm.
have all the time in the world. You know what I mean? And I learned from this that no, we do not have all the time in the world. Things could change in just a matter of days.
Probably gonna do that alpha female grant now.
You should do it.
Well, I'll just apply
Don't
for
be
it
scared.
at least. I'm not
Yeah, just apply for
scared.
it.
I've done it like I've applied twice before, and both times they're like both very vague and long timeline projects.
Mm-hmm.
But this one it could be scaled to like a week to like 2 years. It's scalable.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, I'll apply, I guess. Doesn't sound very enthusiastic. I'm just so tired. I get sunsick when I'm outside all day, and it literally just like
Uh-huh.
sucks the energy out of me. It's like too much vitamin D or something, and I have to take a couple of days. I'm just exhausted from being outside.
I'm exhausted from work. So it's a lot every day. And I think sitting in front of a computer is the best thing for me. Today I'm really tired, but I'm hoping tomorrow I'll be more energetic.
All right, everyone, that has been Navajo Tea Time, April 2021. Please like, share, subscribe, comment below about what you think good has come out of the pandemic, or just make a big list of what communities you're a part of. Maybe we're a part of the same communities. We'll see you around. Talk to you next time. Are you going to say bye?
Bye, everyone.